Servus, Freunde.
Jimmy,
my name is
Jimmy.
Cage. And
I need your help. I have no time to explain everything, but someone poisoned me. I have only a few hours left. You need to get me to a hospital fast. It's best if we take your truck. See, we are here and we need to go there.
Fuck.
Jimmy, I'm not kidding.
First of all, I don't have a truck. Second, this arm is not broken. And this here is not poison.
Jimmy?
Weird.
Great. Who's going to drive now?
Servus, Freunde. My name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
And it's our continuing pleasure to review one Indian movie each week. And if you want to get early information on what we are working on or vote on the next picks or choose a movie directly for us, you can now head over to our newly launched Patreon at patreon.com/thejimmycage.
For this week's review, we picked a movie that gained a lot of traction over the last few weeks, and we read many good things about it. We were quite pumped for this one, to be honest. It's the Tamil action thriller Kaithi by Lokesh Kanagaraj.
Kaithi has a story that makes action movie enthusiasts salivate. We have cops that just made the drug bust of the century, gangsters who want those drugs back at any cost, and a criminal who's just been released from prison and who gets entangled in this whole situation. But all he wants is to see his daughter.
The setup of Kaithi is great. I mean, the first 20 minutes are pure build-up and introduction, establishing everything you need to know for the 2 hours that lie ahead at that point.
It's gripping from the start. We get to know the good, we get to know the bad.
And we get to know the ugly?
Well, not the ugly, it's something between good and bad, in the form of Karthi's Dilly.
But it takes a bit of time till he's introduced.
Yes, but it is handled in a very stylish and rewarding way. Bijoy, the head of the special task force, finds himself at a desperate point after all of his guys were poisoned. They need to get to a hospital quick, but he has a broken arm, so he's not able to drive a truck. No one is. And in comes Dilly, who Bijoy remembers to be in a police car nearby. That moment is pretty cool.
Those first 20 minutes, the back and forth cutting between the gangsters, the cops, and some mysterious guy that gives out information to the gangsters in exchange for a piece of the drugs, are thrilling and made on a high technical level. My adrenaline was up and going.
Mine too. The groundwork is laid perfectly. And almost all of the time there is music in the background too. Cool music. Some bits have an Irish flair, others this Italian western touch. Things are pushed forward and forward, up to the point where we were guessing how everything might play out. We have a truck that's loaded with dozens of poisoned cops and one snitch, and that truck needs to go from point A to point B. The gangsters know what route they will probably go with this truck.
At that point I thought this was going to be some kind of Mad Max thing, and the first big action set piece actually wasn't far from that, at least composition wise.
That's true, but the story of Kaithi is kind of split in two different parts. One, where Bijoy, Dilly and the funny sidekick Kamachi need to bring the poison cops to a hospital, and one where a bunch of students and a newly assigned cop called Napoleon need to protect the 900 kilos of drugs that are hidden under a police building.
And the third little part where a girl is waiting for her father to finally meet her.
Yeah, almost forgot about that. But as you said, the part with the truck is kind of reminiscent of Mad Max, but the part with the students and Napoleon is more than reminiscent of Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah, Kaithi is heavily inspired by John Carpenter's movie, it's no secret. But let's get down to business now. We both agree that the first 20 minutes were quite awesome, but did Kaithi deliver after that? Did you like it?
Well, Kaithi is a double-edged sword. The story is there, the beginning is awesome, the first action sequence is good, the presentation is stylish and impressive. I like that everything happens at night, in one single night to be precise, but
there's always a but.
Not always, but in this case he has. Now first, I got to say that Kaithi isn't boring or anything. It's a good entertainer that intentionally goes without songs or dances or a romantic storyline. There are some snippets in there that give Dilly a bit of a background story, but the rest is tension and action.
I even could have done without the background story of Dilly. They kept it to a minimum, but it still comes across as this concession to the audience. And it took me out of the movie almost every time Dilly has one of these reflective moments.
It's fine. You need something to keep the character interesting and that shows how much he struggles in making the decisions that he has to make. It's very reminiscent though of Nicolas Cage's character Cameron Poe in Con Air. He also spent time in prison, is about to get released and finally see his little daughter for the first time.
True.
But I'm not saying that it didn't take me out of the movie sometimes too. Let me get back to what I said. Kaithi is quite entertaining, but it still has pacing issues. It drags on sometimes, especially in the last third. I don't like to say it, but the movie becomes a bit generic after a while.
That's why I highlighted that truck car chase sequence so much. It felt innovative. The same applies in parts for the final showdown when all hell breaks loose in the police building, but most of the stuff in between is pretty much run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, that's especially a pity because Kaithi had the potential of being somewhat different.
And it definitely is in some ways.
Yes, but as you said, the moment Dilly steps out of the truck, we know that he's going to beat up all the bad guys. We know exactly how things will go down. I mean, it's of course cool when he throws a guy into an electric fence, but that's about it. The rest is standard fighting scenes, constantly switching between normal speed and slow motion. A lot of times those scenes start well, but then they just fizzle out. That's actually something that happens a lot in action-heavy movies.
We often joke about it when we say, just wait for it, that guy is more than meets the eye. And in so many cases, that guy really is. I want something different.
Though Dilly bears at least a few traits that set him apart from the normal, larger-than-life, more-than-meets-the-eye hero. He has a little bit more depth because of the story with his daughter, and he isn't cool all the time.
He's rather quiet, doesn't talk much, and doesn't appear to be an insensitive brute, yeah. But I still didn't really care for him or any of this. You could say that this is not that important in an action movie, but if I'm not taken by the action, I at least should be interested in the lives of the characters. But I'm not. Neither in Dilly's nor in B-Joy's. Am I an insensitive brute?
A little bit. I didn't have that much problems with the characters, but I understand your notion. The characters don't really evolve or change. Kaithi tries very hard to balance things, but doesn't fully succeed in it. The plot is stretched way too far. You really would not miss anything of importance if you stopped watching for 10 minutes and then hopped in again. The big bad guy is also surprisingly underwhelming in the end, and this element of the brother they want to bust out of prison feels also tacked on.
Especially when it doesn't really go anywhere.
Except the potential sequel.
Kaithi has its moments. Again, it's stylish, intense and fresh in many respects, but it just can't keep what it promises to be.
Apt words, so what would we say in German about Kaithi?
Kaithi ist ein ordentlicher Actionfilm, der zwar starke Momente hat, aber leider zu wenig aus seiner interessanten Prämisse macht. Der intensive Anfang und das spannende Finale umschließen einen mäßigen Mittelteil, der vor allem von generischer Action geprägt ist.
I give Kaithi 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.8, but I don't do that.
For me, it's 6 out of 10. It's more like 6.3, but I don't do that either. What?
No movie trivia today?
Nope. Still mad after what you did at the end of our Kshanam review.
That one hasn't even aired yet.
But we recorded it way before this one?
That's how things work sometime. Anyway, what are your thoughts about Kaithi? Leave a comment and hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd simply at @TheJimmyCage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at @Buddymeister.
You can also find our newly launched Patreon account at patreon.com/TheJimmyCage to get extra content and more ways to participate in our exploration of Indian cinema. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like, and make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.